Praise the Lord. We are continuing. No. Praise the Lord. Right. Everything that we do here today, we're doing it in no other name but in Jesus. Right. At this time, I want to welcome His Honorable Mr. Rushton Paray, Member of Parliament from Mayaro. That's correct. Give him a round of applause.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and I assure you I'll be as brief as all those who have spoken before me. Mr. Belgrove was always one of protocol. You couldn't beat him with that.
At all.
And today we have to put aside protocol because of the length and breadth of the audience here today. We will have to stand on all the protocols that have already been observed. But I wish to acknowledge my parliamentary colleague, MP for Belgrove, Mr. Stephen McClashy, who is a good man, a decent man, and I'm privileged to work with him in the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago. That being said, very good evening, very good afternoon to everyone. And I am very privileged and blessed to express my gratitude to Mother Marcia for asking me to bring a few words of reflection today at Dr. Belgrove's funeral. When I got the news, I was in St. Lucia a couple of days ago. And, you know, as the news started to spread via WhatsApp, I had to make sure and get confirmation. And I was very saddened when Marcia reached out and she said, yes, it is so. Because Sterling and I, we communicate regularly. And there was never any conversation about being ill, being sick or anything. So it was a total shocker for all of us. Hearing the news about Sterling's passing. But again, thank you very much, Marcia, for allowing me to share in a few words and talk about a bit of the impact he has had, not only on me, but the lives of so many students that would have passed through his hands over the years. Now, we are all here today because Dr. Belgrove touched our lives in ways that words cannot capture. But I'll do my best to honor him and the impact and talk very, very briefly about the impact he had on all of us. Now, Dr. Belgrove was not just only a lecturer, he was a mentor, and as the labeling has him here today, a leader, but he was a visionary who embodied the spirit of Trinidad and Tobago, and that has been said ad nauseum by all the persons who spoke today. Clearly, he was a quintessential Trinidadian and Tobagonian man. His life's mission was rooted in the belief that every individual, every community, and indeed the nation itself possessed untapped potential waiting to be realized. As my MBA lecturer, he lectured me on entrepreneurship and innovation. And it was the first time I met Dr. Belgrove, and this would have been somewhere in 2012, somewhere around there. There were some instances, as some of the speakers before talk about his style, and you had to ask if this man sane at times. Because as students who would have grown up in a structured way of learning, his unorthodox way of teaching, you had to pull back and do a bit of measurement to see, hey, what are we doing here? But his approach to teaching was nothing short of revolutionary. He combined the wisdom of ancient principles with the practicality of real-world experiences and the insight of mother and daughter. He said to me a day, he said, Rushton, what do you do early in the morning? I said, well, boy, at 5 in the morning, I will get up, I will go and shower, I will go and prepare for my prayers at 6 in the morning as a Hindu. I will go to the area where we do our prayers facing the east. And he said, do you know, all of that that is written in our scriptures is part of what they are teaching in modern management for leaders and leadership. So he was able to look at all these scriptures and he brought these ancient teachings. And we, as adult students in that class, over time, we started to connect the dots on how your scriptures and your ancient wordings and your ancient teachings are relevant today in our modern day society as leaders. So that was one thing that, became very apparent to all of us in the class as we go along. He also had an extraordinary ability to open your minds to new perspectives on ontology and epistemology, challenging you to think deeply about the very foundation of knowledge and existence. And in every class, we had to position ourselves on those two words. He just didn't teach entrepreneurship. He transformed the way you saw the world. And that is so critical today. And as the speakers before me talk about his work in the areas, Mother Marcia spoke about the work that they're doing with the gangs. It's about how you get our young people to change the way they see the world. And I think Dr. Belgrove was excellent at that. His presence was magnetic. If Dr. Belgrove walks into this audience today, the aura, the wind, the sound, his magnetic approach, the room went into silence. That is true leaders. His style, his suaveness, his immaculate dress, always well attired, and he stood upright when he walked. That was the example that he was leaving for us as young students, as young Trinidadian and Tobagonians. This is how we must make ourselves as we go into the public. But beyond his physical appearance, it was his intellect, his passion, and his unwavering belief in the power of human connection, both physical and spiritual, that truly set him apart. Through his organization, the Rose Foundation, Dr. Belgrove demonstrated his commitment to uplifting underprivileged communities. And we in Mayaro were very, very privileged to have the Rose Foundation work with some of our energy companies up there in dealing with specific issues on community upliftment, entrepreneurship, building small and micro enterprises. Some of them I would have worked with him through the office of the MP as well. So what was said today, I can testify that I have seen it, I felt it, and we've seen the benefits in the community that I serve as a member of parliament. The foundation, Rose Foundation, became part of our wider family, offering a space where the values of service, empowerment, and compassion flourished. Mrs. Belgrove, his partner in life and purpose, became a true mother to all of us, nurturing not just the foundation's mission, but the hearts of everyone involved. Together, Sterling and Mother Marcia created an environment that was as much about healing and growth as it was about innovation and progress. Dr. Belgrove saw something different in me in terms of my relationship with him. He recognized potential and planted seeds of disruption in my thinking and the ideas that have shaped my political journey and my own approach to leadership. He believed that there is a necessity of disruption as a force for innovation and realignment in the 21st century. And it is important that you have the courage to challenge traditional norms. Or perhaps that is what's the cause of my political couture that I find myself in lately. But we leave that for another day. Our connection deepened when I had the honor of representing Trinidad and Tobago at the Universal Peace Federation World Summit in South Korea. Often at those summits, I would speak on the Caribbean perspectives on the geopolitical significance of the 38th parallel, which is what's happening between North and South Korea. But what was most important about that is that Dr. Belgrove would engage me on discussions about the importance of peace. And we spoke about that earlier on today. But peace, not just the absence of conflict, but as a tool for sustainable development. No country will develop unless you have peace in the society and in the communities and in the homes. And it has to start from the homes. Mr. Belgrove helped me understand that true progress requires peace at its core, a lesson that I carry into every debate, into every policy decision that I have to look at, and in every community initiative that I look at in Miaro. Dr. Belgrove's passion for youth entrepreneurship and development was a cornerstone of his work. I would leave you with two personal experiences because I have made a commitment to be short, so I'll leave the other 30 pages off. Mr. Belgrove, one assignment changed my entire life. Mr. Belgrove asked the class to write in 1,000 words, who am I? 1,000 words. I don't know if any of the students are here, you would know what I'm talking about. So I went home and I write a descriptive narrative. My name is Rushton Paray. I'm married to Alicia Paray. I have 3 children. My mother is this, my father is this, and this is what I'm doing. So we sent in the assignment, and when the results came, I got 1 out of 10. So I went to Mr. Belgrove and said, sir, how more descriptive than this? So he said, Mr. Paray, sit down, let me talk to you. He says, I don't care that you born in Guayaguayari. I want to know what have become of you because you're born in Guayaguayari. I don't want to know you born in 1970 in the energy boom. I want to know what that environment has shaped you to be the man that you become. I don't want to know that your father is a policeman. I want to know what has he instilled in you, in your value for law and order and discipline. I don't want to know you live in a house with 5 ladies. I want to know what have the fact that you're living in a house with 5 powerful women, that you have shaped your views on women and the society and their contribution. He said, when you have written that, then I will know who you are. All right. And I redid my assignment. I think I got about 6. So I think that was a pass. But you know, after that, ladies and gentlemen, every single thing that I wrote after that, I took that perspective of coming out of who you are and look around you. Understand the world from the next man's perspective. And I have done that successfully up to today. And I tell my girls, I tell my children to do that in their writing. And the last thing that I want to leave you with in terms of my experience with Dr. Belgrove, some of you spoke about aliens. And you know, to the viewing public outside there, they would say, what is this man talking about? This? Because of Dr. Belgrove, I now own 10 acres of land on the moon. Right? So when I purchased it, it was about $50 US for it, because it's more of a title right with the United Nations. So I took it on my last daughter's name, so I brought it home and I put it up on the wall. The picture, the land, the cadastral copy, and they say, my 10 acres next to John Travolta and 1 or 2 other persons. So my daughter said, but Daddy, when my friends come home, they're going to say, you're mad. Mr. Belgrove's response would be, what if I'm not mad? What if I'm not mad? And Mr. Belgrove challenged us as young people that we have to grow into a nation of people who can challenge the norm, ask questions, make it a position that when somebody tell you that it can be done, tell them, yes, it could be done. And if they challenge you and tell you you're mad, say, well, what if I'm not mad? What if we can do this in 5, 10, 15 years? And that has opened a whole new view. And I graduated in 2013, like a lot of my colleagues, 1 or 2 of them are sitting here. And from that day, Mr. Belgrove and the way how he taught us to look at the world forever changed the way how I approach my personal business, how I approach the parliamentary business. As a matter of fact, Mr. Belgrove gave me the script on how my debates ought to be. He says, don't go in there and just ramble, because after 10 minutes, they'll turn the television off. When you speak about your international knowledge, your regional knowledge, your local knowledge, your party's position, and your own personal view. And your audience will have 40 minutes of constructive things to listen to. So I want to say thank you very much to the work that Mr. Belgrove has left. Marcia and family, on behalf of Nelisha and myself, there are 2 students who reached out to me who were very, very close to Mr. Belgrove. Rohini and Homer, who I know both are connected, and the hundreds of students who have reached out to me on LinkedIn when I posted about Dr. Belgrove's passing, about the shock and the condolences that they sent. I think I speak on behalf of all of them. God be with you, and we remain part of you, part of the foundation.